I've been around bears, lions, buffaloes, elephants, rhinos, poisonous snakes, wolves, poisonous spiders like black widows, and big sharks while out enjoying the outdoors in my lifetime. And to be honest with you, none of those animals really bothered me. And, I'm always careful when I enter into their world. And I find it relatively easy to prepare for an encounter with those animals. But then we have the mosquito, an animal that you'll encounter anywhere in the world. In fact, the mosquito is one of the most numerous animals on Earth. And it's probably the only animal that actively hunts human beings every time we're in their proximity. Mosquitoes will detect our carbon dioxide signature and hunt us down for food from over 100 feet away. And our weak little thin-skinned, hairless bodies make us the easiest meal that they'll ever acquire. And the worst part is that these damn mosquitoes will swarm by the millions and relentlessly pursue you for food, and do it with no regard for their own personal safety because, their urge to feed is insatiable. This makes avoiding these little demon bugs damn near impossible when you're outdoors. The lowly mosquito is also the deadliest animal on Earth. Mosquitoes kill over 1 million people per year. You heard that right. Mosquitoes kill over 1 million people every year, by infecting us with deadly diseases such as malaria, dengue fever, and yellow fever. Not to mention the countless number of horses and other animals that mosquitoes kill by transmitting diseases like the West Nile virus. In fact, I was once rendered deathly ill by a mosquito, but I'll discuss that later on in this video. If you hunt and fish anywhere, you're going to deal with mosquitoes, and you're going to absolutely hate the little bastards. In this video, I'll discuss ways to deal with probably the deadliest and most annoying animal on Earth. Throw on a long sleeve shirt, some pants, and a mosquito net over your face, and you're never going to get bit, right? Well, actually, that's not true. Covering your skin with clothes doesn't make you totally safe from mosquito bites. These nets don't even make you totally safe from mosquito bites. Mosquitoes can feed through horse and cow hides. In fact, after Hurricane Laura last year, mosquito swarms were so huge that they bled hundreds of cows dry and even killed lots of resident deer in the southern states. Mosquitoes easily bite right through moose skin. So what makes you think your little cotton shirt is going to stop them? Well, it won't. You'll get bitten less because you're wearing a long sleeve shirt, but you'll probably still get bitten. The tougher the material that your clothes are made out of, the better protection it'll provide from bites. Cotton and spandex really don't stop mosquito bites at all, in my opinion, but really thick denim or ripstop nylon or some of the really thicker, heavier duty synthetic materials, do give you an elevated layer of protection from mosquito bites. But be mindful, some species of mosquitoes, like the salt marsh mosquito that you find in the coastal Atlantic states and the Gulf states, that salt marsh mosquito has a reputation for being able to bite through some really thick clothing. So, you have that to deal with too. Also consider color. It's been proven that really dark colors attract more mosquitoes. So avoid blacks and navy blues and colors like that, and try to keep it light colored like this. Also, wear loose-fitting clothing instead of really skin-tight clothing. That loose-fitting clothing kind of leaves an air barrier between your skin and your garment, and that might make all the difference between getting bit and not getting bit. Also, the loose clothing doesn't soak up as much of your body heat, so they might be less attracted to you. And lastly, we have chemically treated clothing. Don't go out and buy those really expensive chemically treated bug stopper clothes, that might lose their effectiveness after a few wash cycles in your washing machine. Don't spend all that money on those when you could do it yourself, for next to nothing. When I hunt in areas where mosquitoes, bot flies, and tsetse flies might be an issue, I always treat my hunting clothes with permethrin before I leave. Make sure you treat your clothes and let them fully dry before you pack your clothes into your luggage and leave for your hunt. This stuff really works well if you use it right. And don't worry, it doesn't spook deer if they get wind of it. And really, I don't think this stuff has a scent at all. Area mosquito repellents are one aspect of mosquito control that's more pseudoscience and gimmick than reality when it comes to preventing mosquito bites. But I still see them around hunting camps and fishing lodges all over the world. Citronella candles, in my opinion, I hate to say this because they're so popular, but they're a complete waste of time in my opinion. Housewives across the country love lighting their cute little backyard candles to keep the mosquitoes away and to be fashionable in the suburbs. But actual controlled scientific studies show that these really don't work that well. These are marketed so heavily that it's become a comfort item rather than something that actually works. Another thing to stay away from is the so-called sonic mosquito repellent devices. Those things, in my opinion, the sonic mosquito repellent machines or devices are just pure snake oil. Not only do they not really repel mosquitoes, but one study indicated that they might actually attract more mosquitoes. Several states like New York have issued cease and desist orders against the makers of some of those things. The bottom line is they don't work. And moms across the country love putting these handy little wristbands, on their kids to prevent mosquito bites. But controlled scientific studies show that these don't really work that well at all, and sometimes don't work at all. In one test, researchers put these things on in controlled laboratory conditions, and the researchers stuck their arm with one of these on it inside of a container full of mosquitoes and got instantly attacked by all of the mosquitoes in the enclosure. So skip buying packs of these things for hunting camp because they're pure garbage. And what about bug zappers? Just about half the hunting lodges you go to have those bug zappers hanging out there. Well, bug zappers are actually the subject of some of the most in-depth scientific studies about mosquito control devices. Every single study, every single one of them found that bug zappers don't really do anything to control mosquitoes. Bug zappers pretty much only kill beneficial insects like moths that pollinate plants and insects that kill other insects. So the ugly truth about bug zappers is that they really do nothing to control biting insects, and they kill beneficial insects. Well, what about these mosquito traps that use UV light that you're seeing all over Amazon and eBay right now? Well, the U.S. Department of Agriculture concluded that devices that use light to trap or kill mosquitoes actually increase your chances of getting bitten by mosquitoes. I mean, use logic here. Why would you want to use light to draw more mosquitoes towards you? These mosquito traps really make no sense at all. So There's really only one thing that's proven effective as an area repellent against mosquitoes, and that's a big ass fan. That's right. A high flow, high volume fan actually keeps mosquitoes away. Mosquitoes hate wind because they're poor flyers and they really have no control in it. So, but what hunter is really going to pack a generator and a 30-pound high flow fan, into camp for mosquito control? And what hunter wants to sit in a hunting blind with a fan blowing your scent all over the place? So as far as hunting and fishing goes, forget about any type of area repellent. Bug sprays and lotions are, in fact, the most effective means of preventing mosquito bites while hunting and fishing. But there's a huge problem. Many of them don't work at all. Many of them kind of work. And many of the ones that are very effective have drawbacks. First of all, put the home remedies and internet lore aside. If you lather yourself up with Avon Skin So Soft or fumigate yourself with Victoria's Secret perfume, I dare you to go bass fishing in the Everglades in July or hunt August caribou in Alaska, and come out of those places without looking like the surface of the moon. A lot of these wives' tale remedies might work a little bit. The Avon Skin So Soft does work a little bit, but they really don't work that well compared to real bug repellent. Unfortunately, I've seen countless people show up in Central America, Africa, and the summertime Arctic with this Avon Skin So Soft, and they ended up being the most miserable people on earth. I've seen people venture into the Sierra Nevadas with peppermint oil or apple cider vinegar and just get eaten alive. I've had to coat someone's body down almost completely with hydrocortisone cream after they used, their coconut oil repellent. A good friend of mine brought a lavender-based bug cream like this from an herbalist and was just begging me for DEET halfway through the Rubicon Trail. I've also had countless people use natural organic mosquito repellent in places with huge swarms, and they always paid the price. My best friend used this Murphy's stuff that he bought off of Amazon on the Owens River one time and just got absolutely brutalized by mosquitoes. My point is that if you're hunting or fishing in a place where there is a serious world-class mosquito problem, leave this crap at home and use a chemical repellent that was formulated and scientifically tested to work on mosquitoes. So the first thing I'm going to do here is start off with the most effective thing you can ever use on mosquitoes, and that's 100% DEET. 100% DEET works better than anything out there, in my opinion. Mosquitoes just hate this stuff. They hate it. And, in fact, every insect on the planet hates this stuff. But 100% DEET is no joke. It's about as harsh gets. I've actually melted the paint off of the roll cage on my Jeep after grabbing it with this stuff on my hands. Yeah, melted paint off of tubing. This stuff will also melt plastic rifle stocks and remove the finish off of wood stocks. And if you're fishing with this stuff, it'll destroy fly lines instantly. DEET destroyed an old rain jacket and even damaged a seat cushion on my boat one time. I've seen 100% DEET melt watch bands and sunglasses. 100% DEET is some really nasty stuff, but when you absolutely need relief, it's a lifesaver. repellents that use 25 to 50% DEET have proven to be very effective and safer for long-term use. The 25% and under DEET is recommended for children instead of the 100% DEET. But just remember, as you go down in percentage of DEET, you go down, the drawbacks and risk do decrease, but so does the effectiveness at preventing mosquito bites. There's some repellents out there with only 10% DEET, but those don't seem very effective at all to me. DEET also stinks. I've seen bottles that said scent-free on them, and they still had that strong chemical smell. I always hunt with the wind in my face, but on those sketchy still days or, in swirling wind situations, it may or may not give you away sooner. DEET works great, but it's some nasty stuff. The next most effective repellents are those that use picaridin as an active ingredient. Picaridin is the new kid on the block when it comes to insect repellents. But it's said to be just as effective as DEET is. I've been using this Sawyer repellent with 20% picaridin as an active ingredient, and I have to say, I'm really impressed so far. And I'm also starting to like the lotions better than the sprays when it comes to application of these things. Picaridin seems slightly, maybe just a little bit less effective than 100% DEET on mosquitoes, but it's way more effective than, the 25, 30, 50, and even 60% DEET repellents. And the best part about picaridin is that it doesn't have the drawbacks and side effects of DEET. It won't melt plastic or take the finish off your rifle stock. It won't burn holes in your rain gear or choke you with strong fumes. And, it seems to apply better than DEET. It doesn't have that oily feel to it. I think it's a great compromise between 100% DEET and the natural repellents. Until something better comes along, this is what I use now. Remember in the opening dialogue when I mentioned that mosquitoes are the deadliest animals on Earth? Well, let's explore that a little bit further. There's places I've traveled where deadly mosquito diseases like malaria, dengue fever, and yellow fever are a reality. And you can prevent getting those diseases by taking additional steps before we travel. If you're traveling to places like Central Africa, it's probably a great idea to get a yellow fever vaccination. There's lots of places where malaria is a huge concern. I've never had malaria, but I do know somebody who has had malaria, and trust me, you don't want to get that. You need to consult with your doctor well before your departure date and discuss the best anti-malarials for you if you're going to hunt and fish in an area where malaria is a big concern. I personally like Melorone. I haven't experienced any side effects with that, and it's a real easy regimen to take. Just be careful. Some anti-malarials, like Doxy, can give you extreme sun sensitivity. That's not something you want to take before a fishing trip, or, if you're going to be hunting in shorts and short sleeve shirts out in Africa in the warmer months. So, also, some drugs like Larium can really mess with your head. Everything from nightmares and suicidal thoughts to just flat out crazy behavior. So you need to watch the type of malarial that you're considering taking, because, a lot of them have some pretty weird side effects. Now, the sickest that I've ever been in my life was actually the result of a mosquito bite. I felt very ill with dengue fever while spending a couple of weeks on the Osa Peninsula in Costa Rica. After I landed on a really sketchy dirt landing strip in the middle of the jungle, I was informed that they were experiencing a huge outbreak of dengue fever. And luck wasn't on my side, and I ended up getting very ill along with some other people in the local village, and a vaccine wasn't available at the time, but a couple of years ago, the FDA finally approved a dengue fever vaccine, so that's an option that's available to you now. Other than the deadly diseases that we just talked about, some people just don't react well to mosquito bites. I don't know if they're slightly allergic to them or, just body chemistry or genetics, but some people really don't react well to mosquito bites. And having some hydrocortisone cream and some antihistamine pills, can make the difference between being comfortable and being miserable. So always assume that no matter how well you attempt to prevent mosquito bites, you're probably going to get bit anyway, and be prepared to deal with that. In the end, nothing is going to be 100% effective at eliminating all mosquito bites. But I hope I gave you some really good preventative measures to help you in the future. Basically, a huge body of scientific research, as well as my own personal experiences, indicate that bug repellents with DEET or picaridin applied directly to exposed skin work the best. Combine this with a good skin covering and treating your clothing with permethrin, and you have an awesome defense against mosquito bites. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. You could contact me with any questions or comments at desertdogoutdoors@gmail.com. Well, thanks for watching, and as always, good hunting.